Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
I promise you, this is not a political podcast.
Jump from the deep end of the pool, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. 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 Set up the mood.
Testicles 1, 2. Testicles. Welcome back to Paranoid Radio Podcast, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I am Trebles Garcia, the humble host of this amazing adventure. I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here today, and I want to thank every single one of you for allowing me to enter your space. Do not forget that the most important thing that you could do for the show is word of mouth. Ladies and gentlemen, find us at paranoidradio.com. Click on some of the affiliations, and if you want to cook your meat before you eat, check out Flavors of the Forest. 15% off on all purchases today with free shipping. Make sure you check us out at paranoidradio.com. And do not forget to check us out and drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making. I want to thank every single one of you guys for being here today. I have an amazing episode with an amazing special guest. Jumping from the deep end of the pool and setting the mood. Please allow me to introduce the host of Cryptid Warfare Podcast, Drewski, in the flesh himself, here today. What's up, Drewski?
Hey, what's up, brother? Appreciate you having me on, man. Dude, that was quite the intro. That's good stuff right there with you. Just going for it, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, after we do it for so long, it's just natural, bro. Sometimes I dream. Yeah, I dream about saying it, and my wife's like, "What the hell are you saying?" I'm like, "I'm just promoting, you know, promoting the show, promoting what we do and stuff." And it's all God's work, bro. Dude, yeah. Big fan of what you're doing out there. The dedication things that you post on a daily basis that you do on an Instagram, I'm a huge fan of it. Obviously, the way you look at things when you go out with your boys and show us how to hunt, how to turn on a fire, you know, how to do the right stuff in the wilderness, how to survive. That is amazing stuff that not a lot of us know how to do, or not a lot of us are teaching others to do. Let me know where people can find you and what is your show about, bro?
Right on, man. Yeah, if you guys want to check me out, I'm over on Instagram. Just look up Cryptid Warfare, or Facebook. Look up Drewski Drew, Cryptid Warfare. And you guys can shoot me an email, cryptidwarfare@gmail.com. But the heaviest I'm on is on Instagram. So, and you guys want to look up the podcast, look up Cryptid Warfare and Conspiracies on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, yeah, all that good stuff, Podbean, YouTube. So,
amazing stuff, man. I just got off the phone off of FaceTime with Rabbit from Catalyst Jones from White Rabbit Podcast, and I'm like, "Who are you gonna record with?" I was like, "Drewski, bro, from Cryptid Warfare." He goes, "That's a sick ass name." I was like, "Yeah, I know, right? Cryptid Warfare is freaking crazy." Yo, talk about cryptids with a little biblical twist. I like the way you put that out, kind of like the Bump podcast. He brought us great information, and he tied all these cryptids into the Bible. But before we get into that, bro, I want you kind of to tell us, open up the box with what was the most notable encounter you've ever had.
Oh man, well, there's two of them. One of them was, okay, so basically before the podcast, like, my bread and butter is basically just hunting these things, right? Mm-hmm. So, just being a cryptid researcher and stuff like that, me and a couple guys, ex-vets, ex-law enforcement and stuff like that. So I got a good group of guys around me, like-minded and stuff. So shoot, move, communicate, all that stuff. So, but one of my buddies, Paul, he was a part of this Facebook forum. Basically, people just go on there, almost like Reddit, right? People just go on there and just write down like their experiences and stuff. Well, he was a part of this forum where people were having problems, right? And they didn't know exactly what was going on. Like, example, like their animals are getting slaughtered, people were getting harassed by it, and they have no idea what was going on. They actually call law enforcement out there. They have no idea what's going on. So these people are just basically on their own. So my buddy Paul was reaching out to these people like, "Hey, would you mind if we go out there and, help out, investigate, track stuff like that?" So, yeah. So, so we went up to White Mountain. Yeah. Well, what was it? Mountain City, Tennessee. It's like basically right at the northeastern tip of Tennessee. Mm-hmm. All that merges together. So this lady got a hold of us, and there was like a lot of homeless people getting murdered out there, getting like torn apart. A lot of animals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she was her land backs up to basically to like the Appalachian Mountains. It's right there. So it's pretty deep out there in the cut, is what they say. So anyways, yeah, so we met with her and we talked to her a little bit, talked to law enforcement that were out there. So they kind of gave us the go ahead on some things. So she gave us this route. It was basically off her land in the back mountains on like these logging roads, right? But she said, be careful when you guys go out there because that's where like a lot of the homeless go missing. So we're like, perfect. This is exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah.
So I usually run with like an 8-man team all the time, always. So 5 at least, 8's perfect. Well, a lot of these guys couldn't make it, because of whole like scheduling, differences and stuff like that. So I only ended up with 3 guys, me and 2 other guys. That's it. So bad idea, but we went to go check it out anyway.
Oh, snap! Yeah, here we go. All right, allow me to like just inject real quick. Assuming because of all the stuff that you're putting on Instagram, bro, assuming that you're also a veteran. So, thank you for your service, bro. We needed to bring that out.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely law enforcement heavy, first responder heavy. So, yeah, man, appreciate that. Other than that, yeah, so we talked to law enforcement, went to this area she told us to go to. We drove up about a good 9 miles up on this logging road. We finally found an entrance to a gate. We went in there, drove about probably another good 3 to 4 miles in. So we couldn't go anymore. So we basically backed the truck in, grabbed our gear, hiked in, and we probably went about a good mile out from the truck. So after that, I always, whenever we go camp out, I always set up like a 50-foot like perimeter alarm all the time. So I did that, and then it was pushing probably about like 9 o'clock at night. So, this is a pretty good area. We're good to go. So set up the alarms, do all that. We set up camp, and then my buddy T started to cook. And as he's cooking, we're just chit-chatting or whatever. Well, my buddy Paul, he goes to sleep in his tent. So me and T are just hanging out. And then at the same time, my buddy T, he's actually a big skeptic at the time. I like to bring skeptics on hunts because I get a whole different outlook on things, I don't like to bring the whole group. I like to what I call is having like the 7th man. So the 7th man always challenges, right, on what the group's saying. So it keeps us kind of like aware of what's going on. That way we're not all running with the same idea. That way it keeps us grounded. Like, okay, you know what? He's got a different outlook on this. Let's check that out.
Yeah.
So it basically challenges us. So, well, he was a skeptic, but so anyways, yes. Like I said, he was at the time when I brought him, he was actually a really, really big straight up skeptic. So, anyways, Paul went to bed. Me and T are hanging out. I'm smoking a cigar. He's chilling out. Next thing we know, we're like in this valley where like this logging road is at, in this valley, the mountains. And after 9 o'clock, it's pushing about, say probably about like midnight, right? Fire starting to die down. We start hearing rocks roll off the mountain and branches breaking. Something's coming down the mountain. So I hear it. T hears it, and he's like, "What the freak is that?" I go, "I don't know, man, but let's just keep an eye out on things." So this thing starts coming down. We hear it cross like this dirt path, and it just stops. So we're just focusing up on the north part. We're just looking in the complete darkness. We have our flashlights on our ARs, rifles. We're just looking. Next thing we know, we hear something running on the south side of us. Bipedal. There's a difference between a deer, a cougar, or something running that's heavy bipedal. You can totally tell the difference if you've been out in the woods enough.
Yeah.
So we're hearing this thing behind us running like that, running through the leaves, breaking branches, stuff like that. So as soon as we flip around and focus on the south side, the north alarm goes off.
Woo!
So then we start pushing towards the north. South alarm goes off. And then, of course, we go frontal assault, go check out the north alarm. I set it back up. We're looking. We can't see anything. We go heading over to the south alarm, reset that.
This is you and T by yourselves. Where the third man is still in the camp. It's still in the tent.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Okay.
So he's just snoring like a log in the tent. So So after that, my buddy T's like, dude, what the freak was that? I go, I'm pretty sure it's what I think it is. It's either Bigfoot or Dogman. We don't know. So he's like, So
Because he's a skeptic, right? He's
He's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So after that, he's like, screw this, man. Let's just throw nods on, which are night vision goggles. So we throw our night vision goggles on. We're just trying to see as far as we can see, but nothing. But we're hearing them. We're hearing these things just running. And at the same time, we're hearing them running, and we're hearing almost kind of like a chatter monkey sound, like like that. And then
tense, man.
Yeah, and then we're feeling pebbles getting thrown at us.
Okay, so they were playing with you now. Now they're
testing us. Yeah. So after that, we're just kind of just like back to back, just hearing these things all night, and then it gets so bad to where we're hearing them on all four sides now. Well, the north alarm goes off, south alarm goes off, east alarm goes off, west alarm goes off, and we're hearing these things.
Now you're surrounded.
And then my buddy T goes, F it, let's send some rounds. So I go, roger that. Boom, 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 boom. Well, we're not shooting blindly. I'm just looking at a tree trunk that's a good 20 meters away. I'm just hitting that as like a warning shot. And we hear these things running. We're hearing them running, busting through the trees, going the opposite directions. So we're like, what the freak was that? And I'm like, oh, I think they're literally just testing out our perimeter alarms. They're trying to check us out. They're just, curious, just seeing what the hell's going on. So after that, it just kind of dies down. Well, it starts to rain. The fire goes out. So we're like, gosh, dang it. So screw that. So we just ended up in our tents after that, right? So he goes to bed. I'm in my tent, prone position, got my nods on. I'm just listening. And I'm just hearing these things come back in. And they're just walking the perimeter. They haven't tripped the perimeter again, but they're just walking it. And I just feel pebbles getting thrown at my tent.
So now they're probing it. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And then at the same time, it's pushing about like 2:30 in the morning. I'm just up. And then, of course, I'm just laying there and I kind of start to doze off. And next thing I know, I wake up to hearing like a sound like that. Well, Taylor gets up out of his tent and he's throwing up. And I get out. I go, dude, you okay? Next thing I know, the perimeter alarm goes off right behind him. And the tree starts shaking. And
this is 50 feet away, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
50 feet away. So to me, it's really not that far. It's like about like a house length pretty much.
Yeah. Yep.
And he's freaking out. So I just start sending rounds that direction. Boom, 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 boom. And these things go taking off again. Well, my buddy T, we all ate the same stuff. He's like, dude, I don't feel good. I don't know what the freak's going on. He goes, but I'm kind of weird. And I feel like this pressure in my chest. So after that, I go check out like the east alarm because that's where they were at. They're like right behind Taylor's tent. So, and what happened was what he told me was that he woke up because he heard something behind his tent, of course, throwing pebbles at it. And then he heard like a really deep guttural growl, like quick growl. All of a sudden he said he felt like he got hit with something. Well, what that was infrasound. You ever heard of infrasound?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Hit me. Okay.
Yeah.
No. You could continue the story, but I'm visualizing everything you're saying, bro. Almost as a direct energy weapon, but infrasound, bro. That's a weapon. Yeah. What happened?
Okay, so with that, if you look up cryptids, right, or if you look up predatorials, like it comes to bears, tigers, lions, stuff like that, right, they throw this infrasound out. That's basically when they growl, whatever. So they kind of knocks off I guess it gives the whatever like vertigo or like knocks off the whole equilibrium of the prey. So right before that, they shoot that out and then they attack, right? So my buddy T, he's built like a lumberjack. He's like 6'2", he's a huge dude, man. So to me, they were going after like the biggest threat. So I look at it as, okay, they're going to go after him. They're going to hit me. Then they're going to get Paul, right? So I was like, that was it, man. They shot this infrasound at you and then they're going to pounce. But, it didn't happen. So he was like, what the freak? So, yeah, so we learned about that. And then after that, it just kind of like died down. It's about like 4:00 in the morning after that. It just kind of died down. So he didn't sleep. I didn't sleep. We were out there just like back to back, just chilling out. And then after that, the sun came up. Didn't hear anything else. And then we're like, you know what, man? Since the sun came up, let's just basically go out there and just do some recon. Let's see if we see any footprints, any pathways, stuff like that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So then Paul gets up, but let me backtrack though. After those first shots we did, Paul opens his tent. He's like, "Hey, bro, we got contact." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Are we good?" I was like, "Yeah, we're okay for right now." He goes, "Okay," and he just
So
goes
he
back
didn't
to
care.
bed. He just goes back to bed.
But he's not a skeptic.
No,
He's a
he's
true
not.
believer. Okay.
He's a
Okay.
true believer. Yeah. Not only that, like Paul's been on all kinds of hunts too, so yeah,
Mhm.
he knows what's up.
Mhm.
But yeah. So after that, he wakes up, and I was like, "Hey, me and T are gonna go do some recon. Throw your radio on just in case we need to call you on something. Since you didn't do crap last night, I'm gonna have you cook breakfast." He goes, "All right, I got it. I got it. I got it." So he's making breakfast, and then me and T go out. So we couldn't really see any footprints because at the time it was around like November, like it is right now, November. So all the leaves were falling and stuff like that. So we really couldn't see any footprints. All the vegetation's dried up and all that. So all the leaves were covering everything, but we seen a clear pathway. It looked like someone drove a four-wheeler through. You see branches broken, trees bent down, just foliage, just a path up to the mountain. So we basically just go up to the top of the part of it, and it crests off. And we get to the top when we look, and there's nothing but the Appalachian Mountains. You're just going as far as we can see. So we're like, okay, this is actually where they came from. So they probably smelt the food. They heard us coming. They don't really get anybody this far out, so they just came to scope us out. So that was the first one.
Yo. Before anything, bro, I have to inject something. That is massive. Sorry for interrupting you.
You're good.
That story had me at the edge of my seat. I'm a visualizer, bro. I'm visualizing everything that's happening, bro. And I've read a book on this is one of my first conspiracy books that I read. Her name is Brown, Sylvia Brown.
Okay.
And she said that it was a misty night. It was a lot of humidity in the sky, and she was one of these telepathic ladies. Not that I believe in that. I'm just saying, her story. And she walks in there, and with a bunch of her other friends that are, sensitive, mentally sensitive, and they're all, empaths and mediums and stuff. And they all do a circle, and they all start almost like manifesting this creature to come out.
Yeah.
And she sees it. They all see it within the mist, right in the middle of their circle, their brain circle, like if they're manifesting it. Before you jump on it, the reason I'm saying that is because I want to ask you this question. Are these creatures, intent has a lot to do with it, but are these creatures spiritual? Can you manifest these creatures?
I think they're interdimensional for sure. I think, okay, I categorize cryptids in like three things, right? Okay, either they're spiritual, they're interdimensional, or they're physical beings, right? But also I kind of came up with this equation because, example, one of my good buddies, Nick Valente, you should definitely have him on the show. He was special operations, good dude. He was actually on Blackwater for a while. He actually worked for the government agency. He was tasked to hunt these things with the team. Like the government hunted these things, right?
Whoa.
So what they called them were critter hitters. So he was part of a critter hitter team. He flew helicopters and all that stuff too. So what he told me was he's like, look, as far as them being spiritual, he's like, I know these things jump in and out of portals because their body chemical makeup is made for that, right? Not only that, talking to Jessica Jones, you know who she is? Okay. I'm going to introduce you to her too. She's actually a really good friend of mine. She's on my team. She worked for government agencies too, but a couple of her friends were in the CIA. Her friend worked for the CIA. She did like autopsies on these things. Right?
What?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So what I was told was that these creatures, they have 6 inches of bone, 6 inches of skin, 6 inches of hide. So that's like really good thickness on all the way around. So their body makeup, they can go in and out of portals, right? Humans can't. So going back to my friend Jessica on her team, 2 of her friends accidentally went into a portal without them even knowing. They realized something was wrong. They backed up out of the portal. They died a year later because of radiation poisoning.
Woo! Okay.
Because our bodies aren't meant for that. But cryptids' bodies are. But also, too, when it comes to the whole spiritual aspect is, too, one of my good friends, he used to be a Satanist, hardcore Satanist. So what they did is they used to conjure these things to protect or to assassinate people, right? If they had them on a hit list, but they used to use them to protect like the perimeter if they're doing seances, if they were doing human sacrifices and stuff like that. Also, too, if you get to a certain level of Satanism, I say if you get to like this, I think it's like the 11th level, they give you an option. Do you want to become a vampire? Or do you want to become a werewolf? That's letting the demon fully take over your body, right? So people who go the werewolf route, they use them as assassins. They use them as protectors. So, and spiritually wise, of course, I believe there's like forest demons and stuff like that, or demons can fully envelop or possess an animal or take it over, or you can go the route of a skinwalker too. Skinwalkers could change themselves into Bigfoot, Dogman, whatever, crawlers, all that stuff. So to me, it kind of engulfs everything. Also, too, if you have these things coming into our realm, right, and they get stuck here and they can't go back for some reason, they have to abide by God's laws he put on this earth, which you have to eat, you have to drink, stuff like that. So that's when their body becomes, in my opinion, less spiritual, more physical, and that's how you can kill these things. And also, too, the government, I know, they have like a secret soldier program, right? Where do you think all these Avengers and stuff came from? Captain all that stuff, right? There's a lot of special forces guys, especially especially in 2005, where they legalized the whole DNA swapping between humans and animals, right?
Again,
yes. So, and that's what they do a lot with the whole like certain like black bloc programs, right? They get veterans, they get military, whatever, people who volunteer or involuntarily, and they inject them with DNA just to see what happens to their bodies and just to test out a weapon. And
that's why all these movies are about this stuff, bro. Yeah.
Not only that, they let these things loose in parks, and that's where you get missing people too, because they want to see how they go. And if these things go rogue, that's when they send critter hitter teams out there to get back on what they sent out.
You remember that movie with giant white gorilla with The Rock?
Oh, Rampage.
Yeah. And they have this they're not government, but they're like elite mercenary agency, right? And then they sent the critter hitters to go get the oversized wolf. You've seen that movie, right? So I'm visualizing this. This is why these movies come out and say these things. They're telling you what's happening, bro. That's huge, man. Let me ask you something. Right before we jump into the next portion, you said, what was the name of that attack that he did on him? Infrasound. I've seen this before. I've seen that before, only on anime and cartoons, like Pokemon and stuff when I was a child. But I remember seeing that stuff and thinking that'll be freaking cool. And now I know, it connects a lot because the frequencies could shatter. They can shatter like a glass cup, right? I'm sure that if it's concentrated enough.
Well, I've actually had that happen to me in Kentucky.
Really?
Yeah, I did. We went to go on a Bigfoot hunt because my buddy Cameron, he was really good friends with a couple park rangers out there, and there's a lot of missing people out there, so they called us out to go investigate some stuff. So we went out there, and long story short, we basically were out there in the middle of the night, and we ran into this SUV parked in the middle of nowhere in the mountains. Well, the doors were flung open. Well, the part that made us stop was I saw a baby carrier on the floor. Everything was dumped out. So being ex-law enforcement and stuff, I was like, hey, pull the car over, man. So we all got out, looked, make sure everyone was okay. No one was there. This vehicle was parked up in front of the tree line up towards the mountain. And there's this path that led from the truck into the tree line to this river that was about a good mile out. So we looked in the vehicle. This is pushing like 2:00 in the morning. So we all get out. I go to the driver's side and look. I check the baby carrier right away, making sure, thank God there was no baby in there, but we're like wondering what the hell happened. So it looked like these people got out in a hurry or they got ripped out of the car, one of the two. So we're checking footprints, not seeing anything. And then this is where the infrasound hits me. So my back's against the tree line. I'm looking in the front seat, driver's seat, looking at the baby carrier. My buddy Ben, who is a government pilot, he's on the other side. He's a big skeptic. And my buddy Cameron's on the sat phone calling the park rangers, telling them what's going on. That way they can get a crew out here to investigate it, right? So telling them what we found. Well, at the same time, I'm talking to my buddy Ben. I'm looking in the car. I hear this deep, guttural, unhumanly growl from the tree line. Well, it hits me it's like basically like if I put my back up against some subwoofers at a Metallica concert
Oh yeah.
and they hit that guitar, it
Mhm.
hit me. Well, I literally had to catch myself, and then I kind of looped out of it, turned, pulled my pistol, went around on the other side where my buddy Ben was at. My buddy Ben, his eyes were huge. He's like, "Did you happen to hear that? Did you happen to hear that?" I was like, "Yeah, I heard it."
And
And
you
then
felt that shit.
I
Oh
felt it.
man, yeah. Uh-huh.
And then we got our guns up and we hear this thing just running up the mountain after that. So we're like, what the freak was that? Yeah.
Yeah. Woo. All right. All right, man. So the traveling through the portals. Talk to me about the second part. I'm just over here freaking. These are camping stories, bro. I swear to God. And then yeah, you're freaking doing some s'mores and with your boys, and you guys share the stories and stuff. Tell me more
Yeah.
about the second portion of the second time you had an encounter, bro.
Okay. So the second time we got called out. Oh God, I forgot what it was. I think it was Wheatleyville, Tennessee, something like that. Well,
Mhm.
this girl named Farah, she literally just moved on this property. Well, what happened was she had this cave that was 30 feet away from her house, like in the backyard, right? Well, she was having problems with her chickens going missing, her cameras getting turned, and she saw outlines of dogmen around her house, and then things running up and literally linebacker hitting her home and shaking it.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's freaking out.
Mhm.
So we talked to her over the phone, like, okay, so what happened? Like, did it happen on the first night you got there? She's like, no. Well, she's like, here's what she's like, she basically said, well, I actually made peace with the land and the entities that were on there before I did anything. I'm like, okay, well, what do you mean peace? Like, what did you do? She's like, well, I went to the cave, dropped off a tobacco offering, and I basically told the land and the spirits, hey, I'm here to live. I'm not here to destroy anything. Let's just live in peace, whatever's out here, and let's go from there. We're like, huh. So my buddy Jessica dug more into that area where her cabin is on, right?
Mhm.
So she only went so far on some information. Well, she had to talk to her friend, whose name is William Nighthawk. He is basically like an Indian medicine man, right?
Mhm.
So he has more intel about this area than we know. So
Mhm.
according to his not Navajo, according to the Indian traditions and the stories of what was held there, it
Mhm.
turns out that there were three different tribes that were there a long time ago, right?
Mhm.
And from the stories that were passed down to him by his grandfather and stuff, they stated that there were three tribes there. Well, there were three different, I guess he said there were three different witch doctors or medicine men that were rogue, that went rogue, right? And there
Mhm.
were skinwalkers.
Mhm.
So they were causing havoc between all the three tribes. So all the three tribes got together, got the best warriors, and they hunted these skinwalkers into
Mhm.
this cave, right?
Mhm.
Well, they had their medicine man put a hex on this cave. So
Yeah.
they killed these things. They backed them up into the cave. They killed them. These things retreated and they're bled out. So their medicine man put a hex on this cave that these things cannot leave the cave unless someone puts an offering.
Mhm.
So what she did was as soon as she put that offering in that cave at that
She
exact spot,
opened it up.
she opened up the door without her knowing it. So right then after that, everything started happening. She started seeing orbs, UFOs, Bigfoot slamming into her freaking cabin, dogman, her chickens missing, like stuff like that. Things scratching at her window, and she caught a lot of this.
What?
Yeah, and not only that, she actually showed us video. She had cameras all around her house that way she can capture these things. She's seen creatures running across the screen, and also something moving her cameras away from the chicken coop. And then next thing you know, she wakes up, all her chickens are dead. Yeah, it's like so. Then she called us out there to go investigate. So we're out there for about 2 days.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's insane. Did she move?
Oh yeah.
Did
Oh
she?
yeah. She moved. She moved,
Yeah.
man. She moved.
Yeah. That's yeah, you can't do anything now, bro. Let me ask you something. You said something about they have to abide by our laws. I wanted to go back to that before I forgot. Man, I meant to note
Yep.
on it. So no, they have to abide by God's law, sorry.
Mhm.
Which means so you're telling me that when they are in their realm, they don't have to abide by God's laws, or is there like a specific set of laws for them in there by God?
Those stuff that was similar laws. Okay, example, right? Angels, right? when they're in the second heaven, they don't have to eat or anything like that. But if they come down to earth, they can share meals, just example, just with like Lot and stuff like that, right? Well, with these things too, to me, in order for them to, I guess, if they get trapped here or something like that, well, these things, I think like their chemical makeup changes, their DNA changes, where they're not as spiritual. I think they lose that when they're here for too long. And then become physical. Just like anything that's physical, you have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to, pardon my language, shit, you have to drink water and all that, right? So yeah, that's what I think.
Okay, all right, good stuff. And then the final question, bro: are they demonic? Are they all demonic?
Okay, that's where I'm like, oh, because if you look at David's mighty men, right? If you read the Bible, if you can, when you can, like look that up. David's mighty men, I think some of them were part Nephilim. I think some of them were good. They helped him on a lot of his things, but maybe I think, gosh, that is a loaded question, man.
It is. It's really simple to put because when I was speaking with what's his name from the Bump podcast, I forgot his name, Bob, great dude. He said, if it's not godly, it's the other guys. Exactly. And I'm like, man, it's black and white, bro. He made it very, very like, he put a cap on any other skepticism or think that you might believe that what they are. Yeah, they might be interdimensional. Yeah, they might fly. Yeah, they might not have to eat, etc. Everything that you said, but if it's not godly, it has to be the other guys. So, I mean, I'm not saying that's what I believe in. That's why I'm asking you what your take on that is.
I think yes and no. Hold on, so let me look up something real quick.
Handle it. Go for it, buddy.
Give me a second. Give me a second. But let's see. Sorry for the.
No worries, man. Ladies and gentlemen, do not forget to check them out at Cryptid Warfare.
Okay, so here's the thing too with that. So one of my buddies, Tony Merkel, him and I were talking about this. He kind of opened my eyes on this because we're talking about like cryptids, right? Creatures, He's like, are they all bad? Are they all good? And I'm like, that is a good question. I go, there's also like a lot of stories where people have been helped by cryptids. There's a lot of stories where, people have, these things have scared away worse cryptids. Like example, this woman was walking on a trail and she heard this thing rushing her, and this other cryptid jumped out, got in between her and whatever, and went after it. She was like, what the freak happened? There's stories like that. Or like people getting drugged from something. That was a cryptid dragging that person from another something that was worse. But also when you think about like cryptids and Nephilim, stuff like that, here's a Bible verse I want you to check out. Pull it up. It's so we're talking about like, okay, so could Nephilim change? I don't know, but he says, okay, if you go to Mark 16, chapter 16, verses 15, it says, go out into all the world and preach the gospel to all creatures in creation. So that's not just saying humans.
Oh, they can repent?
I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't know.
Oh, snap.
I'm just saying to all creation.
Yeah. To
all creation, right?
Yo,
so in reality, I'm saying like the Bible just teaches us on how to live, right? How to preach the good news. It doesn't take a history tab on everything that happened, everything that God created, right? So God could have created Bigfoot, God could have created Dogman, but Satan always likes to carbon copy or take over something and twist it. So in Genesis 6, when the angels came down, of course they sinned against man, they sinned against creatures, and they sinned against plant life. So when you hear about creatures, it doesn't sum it up. So God could have created these things for good, but Satan could have got a hold of these things and turned them for bad. Who knows, man?
Woo.
I don't know.
Yo, I'm so glad I did this freaking episode, bro. We waited a long time to collaborate, bro. Yo, on that note, I want everybody to make sure you open up the Bible. But most importantly for tonight, I need you guys to please check out Cryptid Warfare podcast. Let them know where they can find you, Drewski.
Yeah, man. If you guys want to hit me up, just if you guys have any stories or anything like that, you guys have any prayer requests, just hit me up at cryptidwarfare@gmail.com. That's cryptidwarfare@gmail.com. Or if you guys have any problems or anything like that with things harassing you, look at cryptidoperations@gmail.com. Write me a link, or if not, just look me up on Instagram, Cryptid Warfare. Just send
That's
me a
important.
message.
Yeah,
So
it's really
we'll go from
important.
there. We'll go from there.
So you're going to be able to find CW operations on paranoidradio.com. There's the drop-down menu of special guests and links. And in the description of the show, guys, do not forget to make sure you drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts on their show. Check them out if you have any stories. Dude, I seen an ALF when I was 22 years old. I seen an ALF, and that's on everything I love. I seen it. I told my mom about it. My mom said, Mijo, you know what? Don't worry about it. Don't talk about it. Leave it alone. It's, I was like, what? Like, just like that. She goes, don't leave it alone. And I've only seen him once, but, yeah, man, shook
I
me.
believe it, man.
Shook me to my core, bro. Shook me to my core. And the story is alive. It's so alive in my head, bro. It will never change. I remember I wasn't high. I wasn't drunk. I remember every single detail. I remember the way I felt when my hair is prickled up behind me and I seen it. And I'm like, what? And I was just like, dude, so for you guys to be able to maneuver and then hunt these things down under pressure, outside, being exposed and vulnerable, that's insane, bro. It's very important that you guys take care of each other, man.
Oh, that's 100%. But the one thing we do for sure, though, is we definitely pray over each other. We, put anointing all over us. And we definitely put Christ first, man. So,
Absolutely.
to me, that is the biggest weapon against these things.
The armor of God.
And if not, we got these for backup. So that's all I'm saying.
That's right, big dog. Thank you so much for being here today, man. Rock and roll. Ladies and gentlemen, do not forget to check them out. Drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Peace out. Yeah.
Paranoid Radio.